Hello students. So this is the fourth lecture of electrostatics and it is a continuation of Coulomb's law, right? In earlier classes we have studied about Coulomb's law, how to apply Coulomb's law, and we have done various examples uh, on Coulomb's law. So in this lecture we are going to continue the same, right? Let us take an example of Coulomb's law, right? The example here is given. Find the electrostatic force between 2 point charges, right? It is given 2 point charges placed in air, right? Medium also is given, each of plus 1 coulomb if they are separated by 1 meter. So in this question they have mentioned that there are 2 point charges, so we can directly apply Coulomb's law, right? So the situation is we have kept two charges q1 and q2, right, at a distance 1 meter. So the value of force is what? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 divided by r square. So if I keep the values, it is 9 into 10 to the power 9 plus 1 in q1 is also given plus 1 and q2 is also 1 coulomb. It is 1 into 1 upon 1 ka square, right? So it will be around 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton, which is a very large force. You can see the value of this force is very huge. It is a very large force. So practically 1 coulomb charge does not exist. Rather we take the charges in mu coulomb, micro coulomb, nano coulomb, angstrom, and so the very small values, right? Okay. So the next example we are going to study is a particle of mass m and charge q1 is revolving around a fixed charge minus q2 in a circular path of radius r. Calculate the period of revolution and its angular speed, right? So this problem is based on electrostatics, electrostatics plus circular motion. So you have to apply both the concepts of electrostatic as well as circular motion, right? So here it is given a fixed charge of minus q2, right, and a charge q1. It is revolving like this around q1, right? So we can see these are the 2 point charges, and we can see these two charges will attract each other. So if I say this q1 will be attracted by q2 in this direction, and the force between them can be written as what? F is equals to k q1 q2 divided by r square, and that should be equated to mr omega square, right? So because this is the force, electrostatic force, which is providing the net circular centripetal force. So centripetal force is what? Mr omega square. So we can directly equate the force to centripetal force, right? So the values are given q1 q2, so it is k q1 q2 by r square is equals to mr omega square. So omega can be calculated using this because we have to find its angular speed, so we can calculate this. So omega square comes out to be k q1 q2 divided by mr cube. So omega is equals to under root of k q1 q2 divided by mr cube. Now we have to find the period of revolution, that is a time period. So time period can be written as 2 pi divided by omega. The relation between time period and omega is 2 pi by omega. So we substitute the value of omega in this expression, we will get under root of mr cube divided by k q1 q2. This is the time period, and this is your angular speed, right? So these two questions we have discussed about the point charges, right? Let me take another example. Find out the minimum force coulombic, right? I have to find the minimum force that exists between two charges. So I can say कि in order to find the minimum force, we have to find the minimum charge. Let so solving the equation, let us assume two charges q1 and q2. say kept at a separation of 1 meter, say r is given 1 meter, right? So if I have to write the force, it is k q1 q2 divided by r square, right? So I have to find the minimum force, since k is given 9 into 10 to the power 9 and r is also given to be 1 square. So the value of q1 and q2 must be the minimum, and the minimum charge that exists in nature is electronic charge. That is what? 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb, right? So q1 and q2 both will be the electronic charge. Now I substitute the value. What I'll get? 1.6 square into 10 to the power minus 19 square divided by 1 square. So by solving this is the minimum value of the force that exists in nature, right? Okay. Now these are some example of point charges. Suppose we have not given a point charge like we have shown in the above examples. If I have to say I have a extended body, right? Let us take an example of a rod, right? This is a rod and this is a point charge q. The rod is given a charge q and its length is l. So I have to find the force between the rod and the charge, right? So in this question you cannot apply Coulomb's law directly. Coulomb's law directly. Why is it so? The reason is, say this distance is a. This is the reason why, because the rod is not a point charge and we cannot apply Coulomb's law directly here. So in that case what we have to do is we have to take the element and we have to integrate it, right? So what we have to do is we have to take a small element of this rod. Say this is the rod and this is the charge, and the charge is distributed is q. This distance is a and this distance is l, right? So what I'm doing is I'm taking a distance x from this charge and I'm cutting a small element which is shown in this by the red patch, right? So this patch is named as, the small patch is dq, its length is dx, right? And this charge is q and the distance between them will be x. Now this dq will act as a point charge, because it is very small. dq itself says I am very small charge, dx itself says I am very small distance. So by applying Coulomb's law we can say that F is equals to k q dq divided by x square. This will be the small force and by integrating it we will get the value of force. So first of all we have to find the value of dq, right? dq can be written as q by l into dx, right? q by l into dx, and dq can be substituted here directly and you will get the value. So df comes out to be k q q by l into dx divided by x square, and I have to integrate both the sides. So while integrating both the sides, this d will cancel the integration. F comes out to be k q square by l will be constant and will come out of the integration, and we are only left with dx by x square. And the limit of x is x. If I say this is x, this is your x, and x is starting from this point charge and the rod is starting from this level. So the limit of x can be from a, because the rod is starting from a and continues to a plus l. Now integrating this expression we will get F is equals to kq square by l into minus 1 by x. The integration of x square is minus 1 by x, a to a plus l, right? Further solving and keeping the limit, what we can do is F is equals to kq square divided by L, minus can be taken out. First the upper limit up minus the lower limit. So force can be written as, now you can take the minus inside and the expression will become 1 by A minus 1 by A plus L. So this is the final value of force between the rod and a charge Q. So we have seen here we cannot directly apply Coulomb's law. The reason is the rod is not the point charge, right? The same can be done with another illustration for better feeling. Say I have a semi-ring, correct? And the charge distributed on the ring is say Q. Same charge, and a charge Q is at the center of the ring. Now we have to find the force of attraction between them. Now here we can see again the semi-ring, it is a semi-ring. Semi-ring, the radius is say R and the length is L. So first of all you can convert pi r is equals to L. In terms of L you can also state your answer, and in terms of radius also, right? So I can say the ring semi-ring is not a point charge. So again we cannot use the Coulomb's law directly. That is very important. Directly we can use, but we cannot use directly. So now I have to again cut an element. Like I have taken a small element at an angle theta, small element, this small element. This angle is dq, which is very small angle, so this will be dq and dx, and this will be the radius, right? Because in circular, any circular object has a variable angle as angle, right? Angle is a variable in any circular object, whereas in the above question the rod is not circular, right? So the variable is length. You can see this object is distance a from this charge q, and this point of this object, this point say b, and say this is a. So the point a of the rod is at a distance a from q, and a point b is at a distance a plus l from q, right? So the distance is varying, that's why we have integrated according to the distance. But now here the angle is varying. A particle a is having a 0 angle and a particle b will be having 180 angle. So the limit will be, in this case the limit will be from what, 0 to pi. So this we have calculated, right? Now we can solve this easily right now. Now I have a charge say q, and I have a small charge dq over here, which is at a distance say r, right? So the force will be k q dq divided by r square, and as you know dq can be written as q by l into dx. Now here the dx is the variable, so I have to convert dx into d theta. So if I use this small angle d theta, and this is the arc, so if I use the expression called theta is equals to arc divided by radius, so theta is d theta, arc is dq, radius, so arc is dx, right? Arc is what? Dx by r. So you can convert dx into d theta, so it can further be written as q by l into d theta into r. Now substituting the value of force, so f dash comes out to be f, and something over here will be added. So what is that? Let us check. If I see this dq, right, this will repel this charge, right, because both are positive in nature, right? Similarly, if I assume another dq over here, this will also repel. Say this is angle theta, so this is force F1, this is force F2. The value will be same, so we can just say F and F. So if I resolve this force, this will be F cos theta and this will be F sin theta. Similarly, on resolving the this one also, this is what F cos theta and this will be F sin theta. So you can see F cos theta component get cancelled out. So we are only left with the F sin theta. So here the extra thing will be F sin theta, right? Now substituting the value F dash, it is a net force which is K, Q, dq will be Q by L R d theta sin theta divided by R square. 1R get cancelled out. This is df, right? Integrating both sides, what we are left with, so it will be F dash K Q square by RL will be constant and it will be out. Limit will be 0 to pi sin theta d theta. Now the integration of sin theta is minus cos theta. F dash is equals to KQ square by RL and it is minus cos theta. The limit will be 0 to pi. Now if I take minus out, it will be easy to solve because minus sometimes create a confusion. So cos theta is cos pi minus cos 0. Again, F dash comes out to be minus KQ square by RL. The value of cos pi is minus 1 and cos 0 is also, no, cos 0 is 1, right? So minus 1 will be minus 2 and this minus will get cancelled out and get positive. So the final result will be 2KQ square by RL. This is the final answer. If you want, you can replace L over R. We know that pi R is equals to L. So if you want to replace L, so the final result will be F dash is equals to 2KQ square divided by R into L. L is again pi R. So F dash comes out to be 2KQ square divided by pi R square. So either this, depending on the option given, you can manipulate your answer, right? So in this lecture we have studied some examples of Coulomb's law, how to apply Coulomb's law for various exams, right?